So do I look at the camera?
All right, welcome back to Overruled. My name's Trevor Blanick alongside co-host Jaden Riak. We got two guests here today, Ben Vogel of Grand Canyon University and Brady Pieper of the Pieper Sports Podcast. Today is Friday, April 26th, Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals between the Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks. And my name is Trevor Blanick, and I'm joined alongside Ben Vogel and Brady Pieper. Jaden is AWOL.
Jaden has left the building.
And he's back.
I dropped my headphones, boys.
We've been recording for less than a minute, and we've already been talking when we started recording, and Jaden has already dropped his headphones and left. Today is going to be either a really good show or... Oh, no.
You want to restart?
This is funny. I'm okay with this.
Okay.
Because you get to see the ineptitude of them.
No restarting. That's the rules.
I think we need to reset.
One start, everybody knows the rules.
Trevor, but we need to reset.
I'm going to reset you.
Does that mean kill me?
No.
Because I'm going to report you on Twitter.
You already did that. You can't do it again.
Bad.
Is this really relevant to our fans?
No.
Okay.
Well, my mom is one of them, and she's pretty mad at Jaden too, so yes.
Hey, Mrs. Blatnick.
She's mad at you for suspending my Twitter.
Hi, Trevor's mom.
Hi,
Trevor's mom, just to let you know, I'm very sorry for Trevor's suspended account.
All right, so today we're going to talk about basically anything we want, like we usually do, but hockey and basketball for certain, and then
NFL
probably
draft.
sprinkle in a little bit of baseball, then touch on the NFL draft because we had our draft special yesterday, which basically was just Dalton and me. So Jaden was there, but he really had no way to talk.
Yep, I was ignored.
You were not ignored.
I just needed a reset. It's all good, boys.
Yeah, after what you did to me, you definitely need to reset. So we are going to, well, how about we just jump in with hockey? We had 2 games last night.
Should I stand up and jump?
I'm going to turn your mic off.
The Boston Bruins.
Yeah, they took down Columbus 3-2 in overtime after the Jackets scored 2 goals in 13 seconds. Then Tarasenko scored twice as the Blues beat the other wildcard team playing Dallas 3-2. So 2-3-2 games. So St. Louis is up 1-0 and Boston's up 1-0. Tonight we get first game of Carolina, New York, and Colorado, San Jose. I don't even know who to pick as a favorite for the Cup. Honestly, outside of Boston, I'd say New York.
What? Did you just say New York?
Not the Rangers.
Did you just say the Islanders?
Well, did you see what they did last round?
They won.
Did you see what Columbus did last round?
Yeah, and they're
still
down 1-0.
lost.
They're down 1-0 in the series.
They're down 1. Let me just
Because
say
Boston's better than Carolina.
this. Who's the fastest team in the playoffs?
Colorado.
Who is the youngest team in the playoffs?
Colorado.
Who's the best team in the playoffs?
Colorado.
Colorado.
The Capitals.
Colorado all the way. This team is the most talented team, the youngest team, and the fastest team. And, they're hungry because, especially with McKinnon, he hasn't had this opportunity in a while. I think McKinnon, being one of the best centers in the league right now, he wants that cup. He wants to go all the way. I think the hunger and the momentum they're carrying, the Avs have a good shot at this.
Well,
I'm glad they eat 3 meals a day.
I would argue every team has hunger. They all want the cup.
Yeah, they eat 3 meals a day. They're always hungry. Just like regular people, everyone's hungry for a cup. Everyone's hungry for food, it's one of those things. You can't judge hunger.
Look, I'm not an Avs fan, but I do think they're the best team in the West. I think they're the team to beat in the West. That being said, it kind of feels like San Jose is the team of destiny, does it? Like, after that game, does it not kind of feel like they're the team of destiny?
Well, the Golden Knights blew it.
Well, yeah.
You can't let in 4 goals within 5 minutes.
Yeah, but that just doesn't happen. That's like team of destiny kind of thing.
Team of destiny.
When you're on a power play for 5 minutes, yeah, it does kind of happen.
And granted, the refs kind of blew that call. It should have been a double minor because, it was the effects of what Cody Eakin and whoever else that
However,
other guy was.
at the same time, the rule states if a injury results from a cross-check, it's a major, and they just didn't see Stasny hit him. They saw the cross-check and Pavelski fall back and get hurt. They missed Stasny hitting him, but at the same time, it is what it is. You can't allow 4 goals on the same penalty kill.
Yeah, I mean, according
It's
to the
inexcusable.
GM of the Golden Knights, I mean, they got an oopsie letter from the NHL, but it's not going to do anything.
I mean,
so.
They said the Golden Knights said that they weren't gonna harp on it. They're like, yeah, it's whatever. Like, we get it. It's
a
fine.
learning lesson for the Saints.
Yeah, I was about to go.
Yeah.
You know what? The crybaby Saints. You got to learn your
Yeah,
lesson.
New Orleans is still complaining about it.
Shirt.
If you can't see, he is wearing a Roger Goodell clown shirt.
But wait,
'Cause
there's a
Roger
red
Goodell's a
thing on his nose.
That would be
He's a
called.
clown.
That would make him a.
But he's already
Yeah,
a
that's
clown.
typically
That's
what
the
clowns
joke,
are.
Trevor. I said he had to have something on his nose because he's already a clown.
That was one of the saddest laughs I've ever heard.
Should I leave again?
Yeah.
I need to reset.
Throws headset down, walks out. I want to write my movie review now.
I haven't seen Endgame, but it's already crap. Leaves. Oh, there's a movie out tonight.
Oh, sports. So how are sports?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that the Nuggets did something last night that was pretty bad.
Choke.
Jokic
Yeah.
did well.
Hate to see
Yeah, he
it.
scored 43.
The
He
other
avoided
9
the
players
triple-double.
didn't.
Hate to
He
see
avoided the triple double, but he scored what 43. He was like 43, 9, and 7 or something like
it.
that.
Just stat
He had a double-double, but he was
Yeah.
an assist short of the triple-double. He scored 43. The rest of the Nuggets scored 60, which is not great. Although, if they played defense, I think they would have won almost every game in the series except Game 3 with that output offensively. But, we got Game 7 at home. There's a reason you play an entire season. It's to get Game 7 at home, and if you lose that, you got no one to blame but yourselves. Game 5 was the game that was going to decide the series, really, because you had a feeling if San Antonio could steal 5, that obviously they'd win in 6. If Denver took 5, it's hard to imagine them losing again at home after Game 1.
Kiss of death right there.
I said it's hard to imagine. I never promised anything. People are promising, and I don't like that.
Paul
I
Millsap
mean-
promised.
Who do you see winning this game? Genuinely.
I think it's a coin flip. I mean, I'd give the slight edge to the Nuggets because they're at home, but I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know. I mean, Greg Popovich is a fantastic coach. I mean, you saw what he did last game. I mean, so I don't know.
What did he do last game? Make us
he yelled
shoot.
at the players.
Make us shoot 20% or whatever from 3.
He
That's
didn't
great
get a
coach.
technical.
25%.
25. That's right.
It was horrible.
The Nuggets live and die by the 3, so that's going to decide this game.
We don't really. We
But
don't
just
have
in the
to.
playoffs.
Well, we can play the post game with Nikola Jokic. We can play the slashing post game with Paul Millsap. We have shooters. I mean, we have Gary Harris. We have Jamal Murray. It just comes. I mean, even Nikola Jokic, adds in with the 3 ball. But I think we just need to have that stretch floor and just play the game because I feel like we have the better players all around, and we have the better players all around. It's just coming up to the matchup and playing them well. I mean, coaching is a huge impact, especially in basketball. And when you're up against Pop, I mean, you just have to play to your strengths instead of play to his.
And I think coaching hasn't really been the thing in this one. Out on the Spurs side of things, the reason we were able even to take a 3-2 series lead is because of our coaching. Malone pressed the right buttons to get Barton his confidence back off the bench for 2 nights. I mean, last night you can't blame Barton. Plumlee was bad. The entire bench was bad. They scored, when I turned it off, they had 9 points, which you can't do if you want to win on the road. And that's not on Barton. It's on everybody. And it's not on Malone either. What's he supposed to do? Play the starters for 48 minutes? You can't do that.
I mean,
And
you can.
You can, but you'd have a very similar result.
Thank you.
And you'd drain them heading into Game 7.
Well,
That's if there
this
was
could
a
be your
game
last
7.
game of the year, so ride your starters.
I mean,
Now you ride your starters.
expect 32, 35 minutes from Jokic and Murray.
And Jokic and Murray can. They haven't been asked to, but you could see Game 82 last year, Jokic could. I think he was on the floor. The closest thing we've seen to a playoff lineup was Game 82 last year, because I think Wilson Chandler had like 45 minutes or something. And the Nuggets are going to have to do something like that. I mean, obviously you can't have Wilson Chandler performance again, where you literally didn't score in 45 minutes. I think he only took like 3 shots.
Well,
He
Wilson
wasn't-
Chandler's not on the Nuggets anymore.
I know, that's my point. That's why I said you can't have a Wilson Chandler-like performance. But if you have a Jamal Murray who doesn't score in 45 minutes, you've lost. If you have a Gary Harris who doesn't score in 45 minutes, you've lost. You need production from everybody. Torrey Craig is the only one I think he could get away with it. But again, he wouldn't be playing 45 minutes. He's a much better defender than Wilson Chandler, and that's the only reason it could still work out.
I mean, when they put him into the starting lineup, I mean, Torrey Craig, he didn't score. I mean, he had 1 point off of like 2 shots. I mean, he doesn't score. He's a great defender, and I think his place is on the bench. But I mean, he definitely can be a catalyst for that. Just carrying momentum into the fast break and going through.
And especially if the Nuggets can't figure out how to defend, that's why you need Craig with the first unit, because Will Barton, when he's on, he can defend, but you can't risk heading into a Game 7 having Will Barton start the gameplay defense. You have to go to your best defender, and that's Torrey Craig. So you have to start him. Obviously, White's going to be guarded by Harris. You probably put Craig on DeRozan and just take your odds with Jokic on Pirtle and then Millsap on Aldridge. The thing is they shot 61% last night, and they only beat us when they pulled away in the fourth when we couldn't score with our bench.
Yep.
I would say we win that game if... I know it's going to sound stupid. Obviously, we win the game if we don't give a run. But if we don't let them go on that giant run and we actually play with our bench a little bit and keep it somewhat close, I don't see a situation in which Jokic doesn't win that game for us, because he still put up 12 in the fourth. So if you kept it close, you have the Spurs shooting 61%, and you still would have given yourselves a really good chance to win. That's why I think unless the Nuggets have another Game 1 shooting night or a Game 6 night from 3, you're going to need threes to fall. But you just need to play defense. You don't care if you win 89-88 or 139-138. Whichever you do, you just got to do it. Obviously, the best result is you score and they can't, and you win 120-89 or something. But I just don't see that happening. I mean, I could. I really think it's this. I don't see like a 7 or 8 point game. I think it's Nuggets by 20 or Spurs by like 3. I don't really think the Nuggets have what it takes to win a really, really close game.
Well, they
that
are
comes
so
down.
young.
But they've shown the entire season. It's just that I don't want to get down to Popovich, because if you get that close, then I would say coaching does matter, because Popovich can utilize his timeouts. But in terms of just pure personnel, throughout the course of the series, Pop isn't out-coaching Malone. Like, he hasn't been that big of an impact on the series.
Regardless of what happens, Game 7, what's Saturday, whatever happens, I think this Denver team has shown so much this season. I think regardless of whether they win or lose, I think this season is a success for Denver. I think regardless of win or lose,
it's a success, but it's a disappointing finish, because coming into the season, you'd have been totally fine with a first-round exit, just making the playoffs. But after everything that happened, getting the 2 seed, taking a 3-2 lead, losing in 7 with home court is a massive disappointment. It can go both ways, and that's what it would be if they lose. It's not the Avalanche last year, because they had no expectations. It's a situation where you exceed expectations, but you do so in such a manner in which you expect yourself to win. Coming in my bracket challenge, I had the Nuggets in 7. I saw this as a back-and-forth series just because they matched up so well.
Well, because of all the teams that the Nuggets could face in the first round, you wouldn't want to face the Spurs, especially as a young team.
And I don't think anyone wants to face the Spurs. I mean, you see the troubles the Warriors are having with Los Angeles. It's just one of those things where you can't predict necessarily what's going to happen in the playoffs, but you could predict that this was going to be a close series. And you have Skip Bayless saying, through most of the first 2 games, the Spurs were going to get a sweep. Well, it took the Spurs shooting like 60% and the Nuggets having their worst shooting of the entire season to get into that spot. You didn't think that the Nuggets would shoot like that for 4 straight games, did you? And they didn't. And I think you have all the analysts from ESPN saying, oh, they're frauds, they're frauds, they're frauds. First off, San Antonio is just such a matchup. It was like Dallas versus Nashville in hockey. The other ones were upsets. That one was just a matchup problem. San Antonio is a matchup problem to Denver because of they're 2 bigs. And especially with Mason Plumlee picking now of all times to play like a piece of crap. So you couldn't have handpicked a worse time to start playing bad if you're Plumlee, because the best lineup for Denver when it's working well is having the pick and roll with Plumlee and Jokic, because you have Jokic driving towards the basket instead of a smaller guard. It's a lot easier to score if you have a 7-foot guard or a 7-foot center who plays like a guard running through the lane instead of an actual guard who's smaller.
But it just doesn't make sense. He has playoff experience.
Yeah. And Millsap occasionally has been good, but our best players in the series have been the 2 that haven't played at all, Jokic and Murray.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that the hard thing about the Western Conference is I don't think we want to play anyone, per se. I mean, everyone in the West had the potential of beating us. I mean, but see,
everyone has the
difference-
potential of beating everybody, but San
the
Antonio was the biggest
difference
matchup problem.
The difference being in the Eastern Conference, everyone's trash. I mean, you could have predicted all the top seeds were going to win, except for, Philly and the Nets. That was the only one that I thought was a toss-up, and Philly kind of put that one away.
Well,
but, I
yeah.
mean, in the West, I mean, everyone's just really close. I mean, the Clippers are, one superstar away, a Kevin Durant away from, easily being a 2-3 seed.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but the Spurs were 6
Well,
games
yeah.
back of the Nuggets, and that's kind of what we see in hockey. The reason there's so much parity in hockey is because these teams are like 10 points behind, which is 5 wins.
It's also indicative.
It's just so much closer. Yeah, I know. It's just so much closer together, which is why you have the higher competitive matchups. Even the Warriors with their 56 or 57 wins, that's not dominant. They're still a very good team, but you're seeing the cracks of you see how close together the entire Western Conference is. Remember the 2 years ago where Golden State lost once the entire playoffs, and they've already lost more than that in 5 games against the Clippers? That just shows how close the Western Conference is. And it's not as wide open as the NHL. The clear favorites are still Houston and Golden State. But it's a good sign to see that all the teams, for the most part, are competing against each other. I was shocked Portland over Oklahoma City. They laid an egg, Oklahoma City did. That was the game. That was the series I was the most confident out.
Well, that's the
in
curse
terms
of
of an upset.
OKC. I mean, it's the curse of OKC. Russell Westbrook, sorry.
Thank you.
Westbrook, I mean, he chokes in the playoffs. He has not achieved anything other than a triple-double status. I mean, I love him. I love his fire. I think he's a little bit of a crybaby. Same with James Harden and Kevin Durant. I think it's the OKC syndrome. But, I don't think OKC deserved to win that. I don't think that they were the favorites to win it, or they shouldn't have been. I think Dame is one of the coldest players in the game right now, and I think after hitting that 3, to send him to the next round, I think Dame is arguably carrying probably the best playoff performance right now.
Okay, let me ask a question. You say the Spurs were a matchup problem for the Nuggets? So, that's what you're saying? The Spurs are a matchup problem for the Nuggets?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if the Nuggets win tonight, they play the Blazers next round.
Yeah.
Do you expect the Nuggets to win that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I expect them to win it, but I don't it depends on their shooting, because Portland and Denver are teams coming into the round. I thought I picked Denver in 7, and then we'd beat Oklahoma City in 6. Just because for whatever reason we seem to match up so much better guarding guards than guarding big men. And that's why we did so well against Dame and CJ over the season, Paul and Westbrook. We were able to contain those guys. But we get into matchup problems when we have to have Jokic be on a center and then 2 of our weaker guarding forwards playing. I mean, that's why DeRozan and Aldridge are such matchup problems. That's the matchup problem. White was cooking Murray, but after Game 3, he hasn't been a factor. So it's basically been the bigs versus the bigs, and Jokic is doing his job, but DeRozan and Aldridge combined are just getting enough good looks. And also, Bryn Forbes producing into the second half. That hasn't happened at all in this series, and I wouldn't put money on it to happen in Game 7. Same thing with Rudy Gay. Outside of Game 1, he hasn't played very well at all. San Antonio basically needed their best performance of the season outside of, and given the circumstances, clearly beating Golden State was a better performance in the regular season, but they needed their best performance team-wise, circumstance-wise, of the season to win Game 6. And had they not gone on an incredible run with our benching, which surprisingly had been our strength for the entire series, then we'd be looking ahead to a matchup with Portland right now. And I think that's why I still am confident in the Nuggets, is because outside of Game 3, and really even the second and third quarters of Game 3, there's just, you can see the confidence in Denver. They went down early in Game 6 again and fought back to take the lead. They were close at the end of at the first half. They were close through 3, and then they fell apart in the fourth with the bench in. And I don't think you can. The great thing about the Nuggets is we're talking about the bench struggling in terms of an anomaly instead of something that happens every day. And that's what makes them so good, is you have a Monte Morris and a Malik Beasley, and for the most times a Mason Plumlee, and it used to be a Torrey Craig, those guys coming into the game and producing and doing a very good job. And we didn't see that in Game 6, and you're going to need to in Game 7. if you can take the starters out and utilize the matchup problems, you need to. I don't want to say you want to start the game just like you did in Game 1 if you're the Nuggets, but hitting an early 3 I think would really relieve you. Your first Game 7, just kind of, because it's not inexperience, but any home team in a Game 7 has to deal with the pressures of knowing that if they don't win at home, it's a massive disappointment to themselves, their fans, because if you're a home team hosting in Game 7, you're the favorite. It's just the way it is. So if you can lift that pressure of, well, this entire series, it's kind of been hit or miss from 3. If we can get a few early, then maybe we'll be able to shoot with confidence because you need that. You can't rely on Jokic to score 50, although I wouldn't even put it past him. If he scores 50, you'll still need another 70 from your bench, or not bench, but the other 8 guys.
Well, if you have to pick 2 players to step up this game.
Step up in terms of prior experience, like prior performance in the series, or just in general?
Obviously, Jokic is going to go off. The Joker's going to go off. He's going to perform well. It's just what he does.
Yeah.
Who else? 2 other players. It can be starters, bench, has to pick it up. In my mind, I see Jamal Murray and Paul Millsap.
I was going to say...
That's exactly who I was
going to
thinking.
say Paul Millsap and Malik Beasley. Beasley's been such a big part of our bench, and we need scoring off the bench. If Murray and Millsap score 20 each, it's great, but the thing is, it's not like a situation where Murray's only scoring 7 points a game. Even last night, Murray still did decently well until Pirtle decided he was going to knee him in this side. I trust. We could see in Game 5. Murray, I don't worry about as much. He needs to get started early, but if he does, because he's been so good when he's been good this series, it's not a pick it up type thing, for me at least. But when you look at Malik Beasley, he really hasn't done much. He's hit a few threes, and he shifted the momentum of Game 2, but at the same time, you just need to keep going. Like, you can't hit a few threes in one game of the series. It's a series. You need to keep performing. That's why at the end of the league championship series in baseball and the World Series, they give a series MVP. You can't hit 2 home runs in the first game of the series and go 0 for 17 after that. You need to keep playing the entire series. And that's what Malik Beasley needs to do. He's had a pretty bad series. But if he can perform well in Game 7, then that's all forgiven. Get your team into the next round and reset.
I think it's interesting that you said 2 guys need to step up. Because in my opinion, yes, it could be 2 guys in addition to Jokic, but I think you only need 1 if that 1 is Jamal. Because I think Jamal Murray's that good. He's the most talented player on the Nuggets. When he's hot, when he's at his best, he is the best player on the team.
When he's at his best, he's the best shooter on the team. Jokic is still the best player, but Murray's the best shooter. I'll give you that. I've never disagreed with him being the best shooter. But you can't create scoring like Jokic does. Murray can't.
My mindset comes to why I pick Millsap as the guy I really, really need to pick it up here. A, you're getting paid $31.3 million a year. Do something.
Still money.
Yeah, good one. Yeah,
Good money.
Yeah,
Just a little.
pocket
much.
change for me, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I think that veteran presence, especially on a young team, you have a guy like Millsap who's been through playoffs. He's been through this type of, game before, this high pressure. He needs to go out early. And I like how you mentioned hit a 3 early. You need a guy like this to hit a 3 early because that calms the nerves of all these young guys. Because when their time comes up, if they see Paul Millsap going out there dropping 10 points in the first quarter, then your entire bench is now flamed up.
And the Nuggets had 18 points at one point in the first quarter last night, and Millsap had 8 of them. He started early last night, and everyone else outside of Jokic really couldn't pick it up. And Murray was playing okay. But as soon as he took that knee to his thigh, it was over. Because it slowed him down a little bit, but the main thing was it was at the end of the third, and then we had to put the bench in. That's the most worrying part for me, is not necessarily being able to trust your bench. Because that's why the Nuggets were so good when our starters were hurt. The trust in the bench, and then the trust in the bench of the bench. There are players who aren't playing, who haven't played a minute in this series, who were big impact players back in November and December for the Nuggets. And you don't necessarily need those guys to step up, but you just need that consistency from your bench. Look, You outscored them by like 20 points in Game 3, and you still lost. And now you're at home. You can basically bet that your starters are going to come to play. At a minimum, Jokic and obviously Murray. He seems to love the big moments. I mean, he was the one that took the last... I still disagree with him taking the last shot in Game 1. I would have given it to Jokic because Murray hasn't hit a single one of those shots the entire season on the final possession. But he was still confident enough to take that final shot. And then you saw at the end of Game 2, him rising to the occasion. And then Game 5, he went off. It's just one of those things where I keep saying that. You got to reassess the situation and look at it from the standpoint of games 1 through 6 could not matter less. It's winner take all for a reason.
Yeah, here, I got a breakdown of the game. So what
boy.
the Nuggets got to do, so you got to put the ball in the basket more times than the Spurs, but stop the Spurs from putting the ball in the basket.
Okay, Portnoy.
So it's one of those things. I mean, that's why Millsap's so important, though, is I feel like defensively, he does a great job at if he can shut down Aldridge, honestly, defensively, I don't care what he does on the offensive end. It would be a great bonus, for him to score. I mean, he typically doesn't even score that much on the offensive end. But, I mean, we just need him as a defensive presence, honestly.
And that's kind of interesting to talk about here for the Nuggets is if you get a few players to step up defensively, you don't even need them to step up offensively. I'm thinking from a standpoint, DeRozan and Aldridge put up 20 each. I think it's safe to say, no, it's not safe to say, but it definitely looks like they're in Derek White's head to the point where I don't think he's going to be. Honestly, I think Derek White could be the X factor of Game 7 just from the standpoint of if he does well, the Spurs are going to win. If he struggles, the Spurs are going to lose.
I disagree. I don't think he's the catalyst of that team. I mean, you have your two big guys there with DeRozan and Aldridge. I think Aldridge is one of the most underrated players in the league. But if LaMarcus scores 23, then they're winning. I mean, that's my thought. I think if he scores 23, that means it's going to open up the lanes for Derek White. I think it's going to open up the lanes for DeMar DeRozan to actually go out and shoot. I mean, DeMar's a deadly mid-range guy. If you can get your post threat in LaMarcus and have him playing up against Jokic or whoever you have on him with Millsap or Jokic, I mean, you just have to open up that lane for the mid-range and you can open up the three. I mean, I think Aldridge is where this team runs through. I think the Spurs run through him, and if he does well, that team's going to succeed because you have to put more assets on him, and that's my game plan, stop Aldridge.
I mean, honestly, if I'm Greg Popovich, I would even consider starting Patty Mills over, Derek White. And, I mean, he's had a rough couple of games here, and I think maybe you put in the veteran leadership there for Game 7. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think you definitely consider it.
You mean Kung Fu Panda?
Yes.
He ain't got no veteran leadership. All he does is try to kick like Draymond Green. Man, oh man, he looks like Brandon McManus out there trying to kick a field goal. I have no respect for the way Patty Mills plays. I very rarely have just a total lack of respect for a player based on how he plays. Patty Mills is one of them. The fact he's been in the league this long, playing the crap he does, is just absolutely unbelievable to me.
I don't know. I mean, to me, he reminds me of a Patrick Beverley, more or less. Just someone who's annoying.
It's not necessarily annoying from the standpoint.
Stevenson.
Yes, but they don't go. The thing that irritates me with Mills is that he doesn't even try to score. He just tries to draw fouls. Lance Stevenson tries to get in other people's heads. Mills just flops.
Is this not the dumbest celebration?
You're playing a guitar?
Yeah, play the out of the playoffs. How about that?
I like that tune.
Might need to tune
the guitar there.
Little bit of
doesn't sound too good.
Playoff hockey news. Ooh. Avalanche Sharks news.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Pavelski won't play in the series opener versus the Avalanche following the controversial hit that knocked him out of the Game 7.
Jonas Donskoy is out as well. Donskoy is the one who scored the overtime winner in Game 3 of the 2016 Cup Final.
And we all know that this game is in San Jose. I think it is huge if the Avalanche can take this first one, they win the series. Kind of a shift past the Nuggets. Sorry.
I don't want to even put too much on Game 1 because we saw last round it didn't particularly matter too much. But I do agree.
I think it's just important to split that first series.
If you can split the first two, you come home with all the confidence in the world.
Who?
What is happening?
Who?
I was showing him the Snoop Dogg meme because I didn't know who that was. I
Oh,
knew
Jonas Donskoy?
Yeah.
Who?
That's the, first
Pavelski,
time I've
who?
ever, that's the first time I've ever seen red on this.
Oh, it's pissed.
It's mad. Who?
I'm
We're
going
a
to
bunch
mute
of
all y'all.
owls.
Please. Please, I'm hungry. I'll go grab some food. Run back with
Alright,
a thing
go
of
give me
McDonald's.
some. Oh, okay, cool.
Ooh,
I'll
that's
tell
a
you
thought.
that.
That's
Yeah.
a thought.
That's thoughts. That's dangerous.
Okay, let's move on.
E-girl.
Keep it going, keep
Hey,
it going, keep
Hey,
it
who's
going.
your favorite e-girl? Mine's Belle Daphne.
Okay, so
Wait,
the
what's
Colorado Avalanche
that?
opened up a
Hey,
big game.
have
Game
you
one.
never heard of an
Game
e-girl?
one
No.
tonight. For the love of God, get back on track.
Game 1? E-girls? What?
Game
You don't-
one, it's Avalanche in San Jose. If the Avalanche can take game one, they win the series. And here's why.
Should I be
If they
embarrassed? I
beat
don't
San
know.
No, shut up. If they win game one, they'll have to establish a physical presence and a speed presence against the Sharks. Two things that they haven't been able to do in the 3 regular season matchups. If they can do that in game one, I think San Jose starts. I don't necessarily think they'll start to doubt themselves, but the Avalanche will gain so much confidence. They're well rested. Samuel Girard, one of their best defenders, is coming back in. So if you had to bet, it's probably going to be Patrick Nemeth, who is going to be scratched. You might even think a forward is going to be scratched. And
They're not going to run 7 defensemen. They did it at the end of the season, and it worked. It's just they need the speed, and they need to have that
just in
rotation
terms of
going.
McKinnon double shifting, because he had been double shifting. That was my only thinking.
And I mean, he can do it because he's so
can,
young.
absolutely,
He
yeah.
has the stamina of like. Never mind. I'm not gonna say
Well,
that.
'cause- yeah, and Okay, yeah, I'm glad. I don't know where. I have an idea of where that was going.
Yeah, I was.
And in
it's
terms
fine.
of in terms
Yeah,
of
it's great.
I got
was
a double
watching-
shift.
In terms of altitude, they were talking about Altitude Sports, the TV network. They were talking about how in overtime, you get tired, and then all of a sudden, I see
No
McKinnon
way.
off of a stop from Grubauer fly up the wing and
Oh, with the
wrist it-
dish from Rantanen.
Yeah, right past. No, it wasn't Rantanen. I think it was Ian Cole. It was game 2, the overtime winner. Was it Rantanen?
It was. I think Ian Cole passed it to Rantanen. Rantanen through the center ice, and then a little
And then
sauce
McKinnon.
pass up the ice to McKinnon for the
And then he went
over the
far side.
over the
For the
left
saucy
shoulder
goal.
goal.
For the saucy goal.
McKinnon is. People are saying that Brad Marchand, the Rat, he's the early MVP. I have Rantanen or
Rantanen.
McKinnon right now, and granted, I am an Avs fan, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But Marchand I think has 4 goals, 5 assists. Rantanen's at 9 points, 4 goals, 5 assists. Yeah, McKinnon. I want to say 5 goals and 3 assists or something like that.
He scored.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
scored a few times.
Yeah, put the team up a couple.
Who's that idiot on the Islanders?
Which idiot?
The one that kept scoring on us?
Oh, Josh Bailey,
No, the other one.
Jordan Eberle.
Yeah, him. That's who I got.
Robin Leonard over Jordan Eberle.
Ooh,
Brady
yeah.
and I were looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
save stats last night in the playoffs.
9-5-6.
96% of the shots the Penguins threw a net.
I mean, the Penguins didn't really shoot well.
Okay, you have Sidney Crosby on your team.
Yeah, he
And
didn't shoot enough.
you not only have Sidney Crosby,
Sweep.
but you get swept. You get swept. Who?
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 Who are these Islanders?
Like an owl. Who are you? Man, that's crazy. It's crazy.
The Hurricanes play the Islanders now, and I swear I've seen this one before many times.
Yep, Islanders gonna win.
When has an Islander ever beaten a Hurricane?
Well,
Hockey.
they last through them because the hurricane goes over the island, and the island's like, I'm still standing. Ha ha, kiddo.
But an Islander is someone who lives on an island.
Oh, then you just hop into the hurricane. Like, haven't you seen those people like on the beach while there's a hurricane? Like, that'd be them.
No,
Like, they're
I
like-
haven't.
I mean, here's the thing. How do you think the Avalanche beat the Flames?
Extinguished them.
Extinguished.
Wow.
Exactly. Extinguished.
So you gotta get
Perfect.
a lot of Islanders in order to like suffocate the hurricane.
No, they all jump at the same time into it.
causing an
Okay.
earthquake.
So how does this work with the Sharks? Do the Avs, do
We
you get an
have to-
avalanche in the water or the Sharks on land?
Freeze the water.
Okay.
But
See,
snow
here's the thing.
doesn't freeze in water. It melts.
It can. No.
Water
it melts.
freezes. Water can freeze.
Yeah, you just throw as many avalanches as you can into that ocean.
But you only have
Boom.
so many avalanches.
We have
Global
like
cooling.
22 avalanches.
Global cooling 2030.
Okay. I respect this.
Global cooling. We're gonna quick flip back.
Global cooling, baby.
What?
Who?
Who?
Global
Who?
cooling.
Who's that?
Oh no,
First name
But,
global, last
and
name
Look here,
global
cooling.
warming.
go through the matchups instead of actually looking at the matchups objectively as analysts. Let's look at them as
Avs fans.
no.
As
We're gonna
memes.
look at them
As Penguins fans.
Wait, so how did
as
Islanders
Tampa Bay
beat the
fans.
Penguins?
Everybody sucks. No,
The
let's
Reds
look at the actual logos and mascots.
Oh,
Who would
okay.
win?
Okay.
That'd be
Oh,
interesting.
let's start with basketball.
Stars versus Blues.
That's a good start. Stars are kind of sharp.
Are shiny.
I mean,
Star.
let's go like
Green
ninja
star?
stars.
Stars can explode. I give the
It's
advantage
true.
to the Stars.
Yeah, they
Sure,
turn into
I'll
a
give it
black
to a
hole.
star. What do you mean is a blue, Brandon?
Sharks versus Avalanche. Sharks don't like to kill humans, and Avalanche don't care who they kill.
Wait, how is there a shark where
Yeah,
there's
but
an
there's
avalanche?
way more sharks than there are avalanches, so I think sharks.
Well, avalanches are inevitable. Sharks will die.
Okay.
I mean, sharks bit off
No,
a
but
girl's arm.
Sharks have home field advantage. So that
I've
means
seen that
they'll go in
movie.
the water. I'll go
Shout out
Sharks.
that movie with the surfer who gets the arm bit off. Hey.
Okay,
hey,
no, Ben.
No.
I can't fit it in.
We have video. We can't do this.
I forgot to start the audio, so we only have video.
Oh, really?
No. Oh no, y'all get it. Oh. Ah.
Who?
Who? Who's the guy sitting in the corner? Me? Who?
Who?
I see a reflection.
I don't see myself.
Ooh.
Capital.
I do. I'm right
no,
there.
wait, never mind. They're not there anymore.
Oof, hate to see it.
Wow.
Wow.
Bears, which are the Bruins, versus Blue Jackets. So a bunch of people with cannons versus a bear.
Well, I mean, you
I'll
could
take a bear.
suffocate a bear with a
Yeah, I'll
jacket.
take a bear. You miss with the cannon, you're screwed.
Well, I mean,
Like-
you could just suffocate
Like
them
you
with
think
jackets.
you think how many bears are on that team? How many bears? How many
22?
cannons?
22.
Cannons are
22
long range.
22 bears, 22 cannons.
Hmm.
Like, are they close range? Are they like
However,
at a distance?
the cannon is only the Blue Jackets are for the Northern in the Union in the Civil War. That's what they're named after. So maybe they don't just have cannons. Maybe they have like bayonets or something.
They
muskets.
also
or
have
something.
playoff
But, like,
experience,
okay.
Or
though.
they might just be a jacket.
Here, I have a bayonet. Oh, look, a bear. Like,
I mean, we got to
I
remember
still
though,
have
the
the bear
Union
in
won.
that fight.
Okay, fine. So the Bears, the Bruins win that one, and then in the next and final matchup we have Hurricanes versus Islanders. I just don't see a way
Have you ever seen an island that just got completely destroyed by a hurricane?
Yes.
But they always survive. Like Haiti still exists.
well,
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
well, I mean, so it's kind of
Puerto Rico still
soon?
exists, but there's a
Too
lot
soon?
of damage to it.
Wow.
So I mean,
We're not talking about islands. We're
Let-
talking about the people who live on said islands.
let's say this: the Islanders prevailed in the end of the day.
Yeah, because
So that means
the hurricane won't wipe out the
Game
whole
that means
seven.
Game
that means
7.
Islanders Canes Game 7. You're hearing it now. Podcast first.
But Canes, I think of a restaurant. Like, I don't think a restaurant can stop Islanders. Like, they'll just go in and eat them all out.
Whoa! Oh no!
Hey,
Kane sells chicken.
just get the please, whatever you do, get the playback of my face the second that happens.
Pause.
Canes is
Thank
chicken.
you.
Canes is chicken. So we're gonna take chicken or a bunch of humans?
Thank
Bro,
you.
how many chickens are on the planet? How many Islanders are on the
22
planet?
of each.
22 chickens, 22 Islanders.
Islanders,
I'll take
How
the Islanders.
how are the Islanders going to get to the chickens?
because they're in the same place.
No.
No.
Because if they're on
That's
their
not
island,
what's working?
they're in their island. They're gonna have to work to get to the chickens.
Why don't the chickens have to go get to the Islanders?
Because the chickens can outlast them.
But the Islanders have
they
home
can't.
island
Shut up.
advantage.
Here, how about this? What if
They
it's
play on an island.
What if it's a Family Guy chicken?
Mm.
Ooh.
Or a bunch of
I
them.
don't watch Family Guy.
They just had a huge fight, so. And Peter and them get
Peta.
Hate to
PETA.
see it.
Peta
Yeah.
Griffin.
paid a grand.
So yeah, I would take if it's the Family Guy chicken. I would definitely take that chicken over the Islanders.
Okay.
Assuming
I
they
respect
can,
that.
assuming
But
that
they'll
chicken.
all get 5-minute majors.
Here and
so there won't be any hockey
Okay,
played.
compile our winners. What are the next matchups for the finals for the
So,
Western Conference and Eastern Conference
Stars
finals?
versus. Did we decide on Avalanche?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Stars versus
I
Avalanche.
disagree.
Okay.
So
well,
stars
that's a
can
bummer.
explode, but
How would an avalanche kill a shark? I mean, I feel like that's kind of a difficult task.
Yeah.
We'd have
Well,
to
what
go
if
all the
the
way to
shark
the
kill
beach.
an
The shark's
avalanche?
trying to go. Yeah, you can't kill an
So
avalanche.
game
No,
7.
avalanche just dies when it gets to the bottom of the
So
hill.
game
It,
seven-
does
the
it?
shark
It
has to do
doesn't
is-
die.
But a
it
shark
adds
just
on.
But a shark just
No,
dies.
when it gets to the bottom, it's just done.
But most of the world's ocean.
Well, the shark comes onto land. It's not a land shark. It's
Yeah,
gonna
but
die.
sharks have home field advantage, so it's in the water.
How do you know?
Because it's the sharks are at home.
Well, they're at home 4 times. So that means that's
Maybe.
3 times the sharks have to go onto Earth. They have to go to land. So I mean,
We'll just play it in a body of ocean. So
you're going to play hockey on an.
No, this isn't hockey.
well, that's what
We
it
have an
is. That's,
avalanche
they're on
against a shark.
ice
yeah, we're literally fighting
on an ocean.
like.
Did you just do this, Jaden?
Who? Who?
Rachel Green would be here. Okay, so
Woof.
so Stars versus Avalanche in the West Final.
We'll take the stars.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you turn into a
If the
black hole,
honestly, if the stars explode, the ice would all melt, and because the star is the sun, so assuming we're using that star, that would explode.
All right, I'll be objective.
well, then the
Stars. win
stars
that
are
one.
OP.
The stars-
Like
So
Have global
Islanders
warming.
versus Bears. Who
How
would
do you
win?
beat
An
a
Islander
star?
or a Bear?
an island.
Probably the bear.
Probably the Bear.
Well, no, because Islanders have guns. Second Amendment.
Well, how
people.
Wait,
how
what?
do you know? How? What islands are you
minute.
talking about? What islands are these?
I don't want to go to these islands. I
The
go to a lot
Virgin
of.
Islands.
They don't have guns.
No, they do
They don't
not.
have rights.
Yeah, they have people.
It's the U.S. version.
You could just
This is not USA. They don't have. Nobody has rights.
It's U.S. versus island.
USA. USA. Sorry.
I'm gonna take the islands on Mars. So
What? Wait.
I still have bears.
I
Bears
have
can
Bears.
swim.
Bears versus Stars, and
I gotta take the
obviously.
Martians.
So basically,
Bears
Dallas is our
beat
Stanley Cup
Battlestar
champion.
Galactica.
That's the final. Bears and Battlestar Galactica, which takes place in outer
Star-
space,
wait,
which is
Bears?
where stars are.
Bears.
Bears.
Stars.
I gotta go with the people on Earth. The Bears.
What? Bears.
But if the stars explode and kill everything on Earth,
But it'll kill themselves.
but then they still.
Oh
kill,
yeah. What if
So
the
Bruins in
stars
7.
blow their what if the stars in round 1 blow their metaphorical load?
Yeah, they can only blow it once.
Yeah. What if they only got one shot? One
You
pump.
can't blow 3 times.
Bro, what if they're one pump chumps?
Well, Jaden, you redefine that because maybe you only can. Actually, no, Nate, never mind. You blow a lot of times.
I mean, it's one of those things like if you blow.
I don't care.
I mean,
I'm taking Jaden down with me.
Where am I going?
Hell.
Wow, that's a short trip. I'll take that team.
What?
All right, Bears beat the Stars. That's all I'm
Yes. So
saying.
the Boston Bruins
The
are your
Chicago
2009.
Bears win.
The Chicago Bears are your 2019 Stanley Cup champions.
Your 2019 Stanley Cup champions.
I think that means the Celtics have to win in the
Chicago
NBA
Bears.
too. So we just got to clean Boston sweep.
Okay, so Boston beats Philly. No, they play. Maybe at some point they do, but they'd have to beat Toronto first.
Which is easy.
What?
No.
What?
Dinosaurs
all
are
over the place.
extinct.
Wait a minute.
You
I'm
are
all over the.
obscenely loud.
Yeah, I know. I'm
You
getting
are
shook.
obscenely loud.
Yeah.
Did Jaden just scream it on the microphone?
No, Ben did.
Is it because I'm touching?
And now he's quiet.
No, the issue is something's wrong with his microphone. I'm not changing the levels.
Well, I
He's been-
know. Yeah, it's been that way.
That's why it's been so quiet.
Here.
Touch
Wait,
the
wait,
back
wait,
of it
wait,
again.
Wait. Watch
It
this.
hurts my
Watch this.
eardrums.
Watch this.
Yeah. That.
And listen. Or talk.
I'm listening.
So Ben, talk, and your
I'm talking. Do I need to go like this?
your mic is broken. It's definitely. You might try to twist that one in, because you can definitely hear something
Yeah.
when.
Twist it.
Ah!
Bop it.
That was a bad.
So,
Alright, unplugged.
And Ben's picking up on the other microphone, so we can still go.
The Matrix unplugged.
So I turned that mic off, so
Alright.
we are good.
Well, I plugged it back in. You might
Let's-
want to try it again.
Is it good?
I don't know. I unplugged it and plugged
Ben,
it back
try.
in. That's what they
Can
tell
you hear me?
Well, yes, but not through that microphone.
No, we can't.
Hate to see it.
It's fine. Here.
Rip.
We'll share it. Well, here, let's put them all together. Let's. Here you go. Wait, here you go.
Community feed.
Wait. Here.
Is mine even on?
I need you to talk. Talk in the middle of all.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
4 scores.
No.
Our fathers.
All right, let's move on to the NFL draft.
That was a great transition.
4 scores 7 years ago.
with the first pick in the NFL draft, The Arizona Cardinals select.
Took a mistake.
Arizona.
No, they took Nathan.
They took me. Did you turn me down?
Yes, I turned all of you guys down. Because, Ben started doing his
We should all walk out.
Gettysburg Address, and I had to turn everything down.
All right. Here we go. I will go down every single pick in the draft. Okay.
Well, it went Kyler Murray. Then it went
Shut
Nick
up!
Bosa.
Shut up, bro!
What did you just drop? Did your headphones come undone?
Yeah, I always do that.
Oh.
Don't worry, Ben. Nick Bosa, and then
Do
it
I
went
get
that
it?
defensive
Is it
tackle from
back?
Bama.
Here we go, with the first pick
Okay, we're back,
in the
boys.
2019 NFL Draft. The Arizona Cardinals select Kyler Murray.
Quarterback, Oklahoma.
Please walk forth and take your jersey.
What are the thoughts? What are thoughts on this one?
I haven't heard back from Twitter yet. I mean, that's not my
Oh, we're
thoughts on
talking
that
about
one.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad Twitter's where you get all your information.
It is.
No
That's why I'm
original
so mad that I
opinions.
don't have it anymore.
Well,
No,
what are
you
your
do
thoughts?
have it, though.
What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
I don't
No,
like it.
I don't hate the
I
pick.
like Rosen.
I love it.
I think he's too short. I really do.
Short means nothing.
Trevor is taking
here. Do you want
personal
to
offense.
stand up and put the camera on you real quick?
I
Ladies
don't.
and gentlemen, he's short as shit.
I
All right.
argue or complain, but he's not wrong. So let's move on from there.
All right.
Nick
With
Bosa.
the number 2 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, we have
Can I do the music next time for
the
us?
San Francisco 49ers select.
Can I
Nick
do the
Bosa.
Roger Goodell booing?
Yeah.
We
yeah.
gotta have the whole
Nick,
experience.
Nick Bosa.
No, I could cue the music up.
No. Ba-da-dum bum bum.
Okay, are you ready to go for the third pick?
Yeah, I'll do the third pick. With the third pick of the 2019 NFL Draft,
It's still loaded.
the New York Jets select Quinnen Williams,
Are we really gonna do
defensive
that for every
tackle,
pick?
Alabama. They're
Now,
32.
They tried to trade down. Calm down.
Okay.
I don't think he's the best defensive tackle in the draft.
Whoa.
If we don't do analysis, we could go through all 32.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best defensive tackle in the draft. Ed Oliver, I think, is the best defensive tackle in the draft, and he fell. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I really wanted him
I like
in
the pick
Denver.
anyway. I like the pick.
I know. I thought they were trying to trade down.
Let's
go Chiefs.
Oh, that's bad. No, no, not today.
With the fourth pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the dumbass
Yeah.
Oakland Las Vegas Raiders select Clellan Farrell, defensive end, Clemson. Who? No, he should have been. He should have been
First
somewhere.
round, yeah.
He should have been first round, but he's bottom half, like 16 to
Well, they
32.
could have gotten him with one of their other 3 picks.
Literally,
Benjamin
nobody else is gonna
Albright
pick
had
him.
him in the 23rd or 24th pick. So he got the right team, the right player on the right team, but not in,
The position.
yeah, because 4th overall, why would you do that?
It's just useless. You literally could have gone anybody else.
The
Yep.
Raiders are
Anybody else,
useless.
Even a
All
quarterback.
right, let's do it.
Let's
With the
go,
fifth pick
Raiders.
in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Devin White,
I love that
inside
pick.
linebacker, LSU.
Of course
It's
you
a
do.
good
You're
pick.
an LSU fan.
I mean, he's the best inside linebacker in the draft. I mean, arguably.
He knows the game inside out.
Yeah, no, it's a fine pick.
Jaden just got cooked on the feet, and you can see that. Wow. That is awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's whatever. It's fine. I'm fine.
That's
with
awesome.
this. Hey, thoughts? Cool.
No.
All right,
I
next,
like
one,
pick.
next one, y'all are gonna want to talk, so you better do this
I
one.
don't have thoughts anymore.
Keep that booing going.
With the sixth pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New York Football Giants select who? Select who? Daniel Jones, quarterback, Duke.
I don't mind the
I do.
pick
It's
as
a horrible pick.
Well,
You just hate to see it.
I mean, it's one of those things.
Tough
if
scene.
Like I
Yeah.
said, like if he's
Daniel
your
Jones
actual,
scene.
if
Hate
he's
to
your
see it.
actual franchise quarterback, which I don't think he will be, but it doesn't
Then
matter.
why would you take him 6th overall?
Well, they think he's the franchise guy.
Then they're stupid.
Well, if
Gettleman's
it
an idiot. They
pans
think
out,
they're
then
going to
it's
get
not
5
bad.
more years of Eli Manning.
3.
I think 3.
Oh,
is the
3
goal.
more years. Yes, because the last 2 years of Eli Manning have been something I want for 3 more
We're
years.
in the negatives, so they could take
I'm
another
with Brady
quarterback.
on this one.
They could take another quarterback, honestly, if they have
What
a good pick
the
next year.
hell?
I hate the Giants.
Really, what the hell? You have Dwayne Haskins on the board.
Dolphins are close to a Josh
not very
Rosen
good
trade.
any either.
Breaking news as of literally now. The update was still on my phone.
Yeah, I
Will
was wondering
Greer's
why
the
they
best
didn't
player.
pick him or quarterback. So
Will
that
Greer's
makes
the
sense.
best quarterback in the
I'm
draft.
frustrated.
Yeah, I like Will Greer.
Number 7
Bum-a-dum-bum-bum.
Oh, I thought you were talking about LA.
Leadle.
With the 7th pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the outside linebacker.
Yeah, it's hard to
Draft
draft someone
Josh
from
Allen.
Kentucky.
It's hard to
Both
draft
of
a
them.
player from another team.
7th overall.
So.
Yeah.
Did they
That
both
sucks.
go
Yeah.
7 overall?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
I would argue he might be the best player in
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
draft.
say I like that pick by the
I mean,
Jags.
they showed the game film of him, and I thought he looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, he coverage, rushing the passer. I think he's going to be the full package for them.
I mean, they got a QB now. I mean, the only thing they need is to address their offensive side a little bit more. So that's what you do with all of your other 7 picks.
Okay.
Next.
Move on to 8.
Leadle.
With the 8th pick of the 2019 NFL Draft.
No way.
The Detroit Lions select
I can't
T.J. Hawkinson, Iowa.
Who?
Tight end from Iowa.
Who?
Oh, can we wave at him?
So funny.
Oh, Jaden.
It's so.
They do that to patients at the children's hospital. Do not mock them.
They waved back during the draft.
Oh, God.
It's so funny how everybody's chasing the next Gronk, but there's never going to be another Gronk.
Well, of course they're chasing the next
So-
Gronk.
Well,
Gronk
I
was
mean,
Gronk.
It's just funny to laugh.
He's going to
Funny
be
to
good.
laugh.
I mean, he's going to
He'll
be
be
good.
okay, but he won't be Gronk.
He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't see him as a Hall of Famer. He's good. He's not a Hall of Famer.
How are we judging this guy on a Hall of Fame?
Let's
based
go
on
9.
0 games.
Your face, I want it quieted.
My face is Hall of Fame worthy. Boo.
What hall? Like what? I don't even know.
My
I had a
nose.
clever joke, but it'd be too
My
mean.
glasses.
With the 9th pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select
Josh
the best
Allen.
defensive tackle and best steal in the draft, Ed Oliver. Defensive tackle, Houston.
He's Paul George if Paul George was bigger and stronger and faster and more athletic.
So everything's wrong with him compared to Paul George?
You just think he's Paul George?
He's
Yeah.
Paul
Should he
George
be
if Paul
playing
George were
basketball?
more athletic.
Ed
then-
Oliver, I think he's really, really good.
Are we saying he picked the wrong sport?
He's decent. I don't know.
I didn't think he was
He'll
going to
be
fall
good.
out of the top 5, to be honest with you. He could have been in the contention to go with or right around Quinnen Williams, whether it be 3, 4, 5. I didn't think he was going to fall, but he did.
So are we ready for the Steelers?
He didn't fall. He just got picked later.
With the 10th pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, Mean Joe Green selects Devin Bush, inside linebacker.
That's one
Michigan.
mean pick.
Love that pick.
Yeah,
It was
Dalton
annoying.
loves that
you know what
pick
sucked?
too.
You know what sucked?
We wanted him.
Roger Goodell goes, he literally goes, Joe Green. No, you say his damn name. He is Mean Joe Green.
Damn right. Can't skip his
Anyway,
name.
I like the pick. It's whatever.
But he won a Walter Payton Man
Let's
of
go
the Year
11.
award, so that's all that matters.
You really make it feel authentic.
With the 11th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Bengals select Jonah Williams, Alabama.
I'm going to go to Top Golf.
Oh, Vlad Jr. plays tonight. That's right.
Let's go. For real. I'll go.
Oh, I don't know.
To
Maybe
what?
later.
What is
Okay.
happening?
Nothing.
No, we're talking about going to Top Golf. Any of our
I got a
listeners want to
text
go to
alert.
Top Golf?
I got a text alert from Top Golf. So
Yeah.
we
Ooh,
should
how
go
much
to
is
Top
it?
Golf.
Let's throw out our
Hey,
sponsors,
Trevor's mom, do you
Topgolf.
want to go to Top Golf with us?
Yeah, let's go.
It's a shot at $100
Let's
gift
go,
card.
Gail.
I just have to text play. I'll do it right now.
Dude, get Trevor's mom.
Play.
Okay, 12.
Hi.
The Green Bay Packers move up to select
Oh, you forgot to mention the other trade.
Rashawn Gary.
Okay.
I don't care. Shut up.
That was a terrible, terrible move.
Yeah.
Rashawn, I mean, didn't the Marcus Davenport, that was essentially the move that the Saints did last year for this? Like, a project player that probably won't start immediately, that may or may not be okay. Like,
Patrick Mahomes, but on the defensive side.
Wait.
No.
you know what I hated?
Mahomes.
They were Mahomes. You know what they said?
Oh, he's the
They're
cover
like
of 2020.
the future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, he
Dude
plays like
played
that for
1 year.
10
He's
more
played
years.
1 year in
He's
the
played
NFL.
2
He's played-
years.
Well, he's played 1 year as a starter, and they're like the future Hall of Famer. Like, oh my God.
We
The
saw
only
his
reason he was
first
good
start.
because I drafted him in fantasy. Honestly, he's gonna be buns when I don't.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
All right.
13.
Same with Tyreek.
Wait.
Boo!
With the 13th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Dolphins select Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle out of Clemson.
Not a quarterback because they're going for Josh Allen or Josh Rosen.
Not a bad pick.
You can't draft the guy 3 times.
Not if they have the same name.
No, but there's a cornerback at Temple named Josh Allen, so I think he's going 7th
Really?
overall next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, let's go. 3 Josh
Yeah,
Allens.
dude, he has to go 7th. Who?
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 Josh Allen.
Dude,
That's who.
he has to go 7. just imagine Josh Allen going 7 for 3
Imagine
years straight.
saying Josh Allen was the
Brady,
best pick for
you have
last
the
3
next
years.
2 hours on here, right?
Not officially. They kind of messed it up. I was supposed to, and then they got rid of all my stuff. So
Aw.
I wrote it on the board, but
They didn't
Then
give it to
someone knocked. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna have to wrap up here soon.
all right. Let's go for
Fant.
you'll go Fant. Let's do Fant.
you. Fat.
No,
Play the thingy.
Yeah, we need to do the draft. We skipped ahead.
Play the music.
I am.
But
I'm
bum
waiting.
bum.
Boo!
With the 20th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the dumb Denver Broncos select Noah Fant after moving down 10 spots.
Good pick.
Overrated.
Tight end. I'm okay
Next.
with it. It's one of those things.
Next.
The pre-draft
Thank you.
analysis, they say Fant is essentially a bulked-up slot receiver with size, speed, and athleticism to create mismatches in the passing game. He's fast enough to stretch the field and has quickness to threaten after the catch. He has he's a natural hands catcher. It's a weird thing to phrase. With above-average body control, and his focus is a bit inconsistent.
I know it's a weird comparison, but he totally reminds me of Eric Ebron.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think
version of him.
Noah Fant is more athletic than Eric
Well,
Ebron
I'd say,
was.
but like how much of an end zone target that they can be, I feel like I mean they're both great at end zone targets in my opinion. Red zone, not end zone.
I'd agree. Let's go for
Patriots.
not yet. We'll do that last because it's the last pick.
What's the last good
Um,
one? Last relevant one.
The Colts
Let's go
traded
25.
down.
Let's go 25.
Colts
Ready?
traded down.
Yeah, I'm trying it has to load.
Boom, boom, boom.
With the 25th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Ravens select Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown,
Man.
wide receiver, out of
Antonio Brown's
college.
family.
Yeah.
Second best
His
wide
cousin.
receiver in the
Yeah.
draft.
But you mean behind J.J. Arcega-Whiteside?
Behind Preston Williams.
No.
No.
Behind Preston Lynch.
No, I like it.
No.
I think he,
Preston's getting drafted this year, boys. Let's go.
You should see our Twitter group chat. This is all they do.
who?
Me.
Who?
Me.
Who?
Me.
Who?
Him.
Who?
Next.
All right,
the
next.
Colts-
Are we going
wait,
to the Patriots pick?
the
Yeah,
Colts-
we're gonna last pick.
The
Last pick
Colts
right here.
traded down. There you go.
With the 32nd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select
What the hell?
wide receiver N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State.
Dude, I'm pretty sure the hallway's upset at us.
Probably.
Yeah. No, I like the pick. All right, that concludes the NFL Draft. That concludes the first round of the NFL Draft. The rest of the draft will conclude in the next 2 days.
Encore.
So
The day 2 starts today, and
Let's have
day
another
3
first
starts on the
round.
3rd day.
Oh, okay.
there you
wow.
go. I
There
like
you go.
that. Okay, so yeah, ABC, ESPN, NFL Network, all that jazz is where the draft will be on.
Colts have 3
We'll be
picks.
back
Let's go
next
Patriots.
Friday. I wish I could tell you who's going to be on. I wish I could tell you what we're going to be talking about.
I'll be on.
I can't tell you either.
Country road.
No, you gotta start the music.
One second.
You gotta start
One second. So,
Get your arm around me.
for Brady
No,
Pieper,
I'm not-
Ben Vogel, and Jaden Rioch, I'm Trevor Blenick saying so long from Overruled, and y'all know what time it is.
Goodbye,
So
listener
long.
family. Gotta listen to the video.
Slower.
Oh.
Almost heaven.
West Virginia.
Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is older, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country road.